For my last lecture, I want to talk about the timelessness of literature and how, through my freshman, sophomore, and junior year of high school, I've learned that the concepts of literature are carried through history, literature, society, politics, and film. Freshman year, we read The Allegory of the Cave. In the allegory, Plato introduces the concept of puppets and shadows, and the difference between reality and illusion. This is also seen in contemporary times and seen in the media. An example that specifically applies to me is models and magazines. In this example, I am the prisoner, forced to look at these gorgeous human beings with seemingly perfect bodies. These models are the shadows, the illusion of what humans should look like. The puppet masters are the editors and Photoshop, who create the illusions. I must become the philosopher who can break free and see the reality that is normal bodies at normal weights with flawed complexions and bigger than double zero waists. Freshman year, we also read Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. The structure and storyline of this tragedy has been carried down throughout the ages. There are differently directed plays and movies that show different interpretations of the story. Allusions to Romeo and Juliet have been seen in stories like Huck Finn, with the story of the Gregorfords and Shepherdsons, two feuding families, much like the Capulets and Montagues. A more modern version is West Side Story, a Broadway play. Any story where two people from different backgrounds, feuding families, etc., who fall in love can trace their storyline back to Romeo and Juliet. This shows the timelessness of star-crossed lovers. The Crucible has the timeless concept of good versus evil. The evil being the witches, the good being the rest of the village. A village where suspicion was considered as good as fact. The Crucible was an allegory for McCarthyism, the good being the capitalists and the democratic societies, the evil being communism. This book was a mirror image, just using a different evil under a different time period. The government's suspicion is the same, people's accusations are the same, and the general paranoia is the same. The story demonstrated human nature, something that will always be prevalent in our society. The inclination to listen to the loudest and the first voice, and to look for a scapegoat. The Great Gatsby, which I read junior year, was my favorite book of my high school career. The amount of themes that were prevalent in this story: honesty, the American dream, violence, marriage, adultery. There's too many to name. However, the American dream is obviously the most prevalent. The American dream has for a long time been, and still is, a very enormous part of our society. Gatsby's jump from the lower class to upper class was seen with both approval and disapproval, depending on who was judging it. This type of success can be compared today to poor athletes' success in a professional sport through scholarships and training and talent. Through scholarships, a child from poorer parts of the country who might not be able to afford college can become a millionaire after participating in the college sport and making it to the big-time level of professional sports. This type of athletic success is also approved of and disapproved of in our country. Some live for college sports. Others think there is too much focus on sports rather than academics. Another contemporary connection to The Great Gatsby is The Pursuit of Happiness, where Chris Gardner goes from having $21 in his bank account to being chosen from 20 interns to become a stockbroker, achieving his American dream. All in all, literature is timeless. That is why we read novels and plays written years, decades, even centuries ago. Themes, motifs, human nature, and emotions are all the same. We can connect with Juliet when we think about the people we love. We must think twice about what we see in fashion magazines. We dream of being presidents, astronauts, athletes, movie stars, and in that, connect to Gatsby. We can take away lessons and themes from all books we read in high school. They help us with our lives today. Literature's timelessness is seen in the fact that classics like Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Gatsby, The Crucible are all being redone and introduced into today's society. That is because these books are today's society. Literature is culture, and who are we as a people without culture?